Hi, Benchwarmer. How you doing? How was everyone doing? Hope you're all well. This is Kiyan Sobhani. If you don't know, you can get to know me by clicking on my tag at Kiyan So. What's up, Vasco? What's up, Mahan? Turtle emojis everywhere. I'm good, Imran. How are you, buddy? Alright, well, we got 32 so far. Questions coming in already. Tactical questions. Alright. So, I have no plans for this Q&A. I just needed to do a live because usually after I do a very long article, which I did, I the last 24 hours or so, I was head down, working nonstop, and I haven't seen a human in 2-3 days apart from just basically family, couple friends who stopped by, and Diego and Matt on Zoom, and now you guys. So I like to just log on and just interact with you guys after a long project like that. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, go over to managingmadrid.com. My latest article has observations. It's about 3,000 words on Liverpool, Mbappe, Mendy, Carvajal, Brahim Diaz, our press, Vallejo, Lunin, Fede and Camavinga, and one more thing I can't remember. There's 10 tactical observations altogether. So, let's see. Let's see what everyone's saying. Feeling about the Champions League final. I mean, I support Real Madrid, as do all of you lucky people. So, on one level, I'm nervous, but on another level, I'm confident, if that makes sense. Because I think, especially in these European finals, historically speaking, we have a pretty amazing record. And now, having said that, so do Liverpool. Liverpool have been to the Champions League final many times. They've beaten us in the Champions League final before. So it could go either way. But it's two storied European rivals, and I think they have deficiencies we can take advantage of, which I wrote about today. But also they have ways that they can absolutely hurt us, which I also wrote about today. You can go read that. Thoughts on Liverpool rotating so heavily tonight? Very interested and surprised, Vasco, because I'm actually, it's halftime right now. It's on in the background, and they conceded an early goal. It's a big risk because even though it's Southampton, you can never put these things to chance, and there's so much time from now until the final. I'm really surprised that Club opted to do this now. Maybe they'll win it anyway. It's 1-1 right now, but I think it was a huge risk. If the Champions League final is 2-3 days, then I can understand it, but it's literally 9 days away, 10, 11 days, right? I don't know. I'm doing that off the top of my head, but yeah, I was definitely surprised. Right now, Michael Owen is giving some analysis on mute, which is the way we like to keep it. A lot of Mbappe comments. Got nothing. You know what I know. I know what you know. I will say this. I don't think when he said on Sunday that I will make a decision before going with the French national team, starting to doubt that he can keep that promise. The way it's unfolding is just... it's a never-ending thing where he's basically, I think if he really had his mind made up, which on some level I actually believe that he does, and he just wants to wait till the season is over, just out of respect for PSG. But I think there is just definitely this little sliver of hope for PSG, a little window that they see opening, and obviously there wouldn't be if he wasn't in Qatar today meeting with them, right? So there's always a chance that he doesn't come, but I'd still feel pretty confident about it. Benchwarmer says, oh no, where did the comment go? Can Liverpool press the way they do against us, considering it's a final and it's their last game of the season, playing every game they can? Yeah, I think they can. They're the type of team that can. 100% they can, yeah. Based on what we've seen from them all season, they are the most aggressive pressing team in Europe. The numbers back it up. The eye test backs it up. No one counter presses the way they do. They'll see weaknesses in the scouting report against us, like the Militaos, like the Ferland Mendy's, like the Casemiros, and they'll try to exploit that as best they can. Is it going to be nonstop from 1 to 90? There's probably going to be waves where they'll take it easy a little bit, especially knowing how devastating Vinicius and Benzema can be on the counterattack. But I would be pretty confident they would. Shravan says, hey, Kiyan, where can I get that wall hanging? Please help. This thing, this is from Amazon, I think. I think just if you search Real Madrid canvas or something like that on Amazon, you'll find it. Although beware, you have to buy it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces. So just make sure you can at least, like, for me, I don't know. I'm not the handy guy. I'm good at writing and talking. I'm not good at even stuff like this. So I had to have someone help me. Just actually, they bring out the leveler thing and balance to make sure it's all even and stuff. And if you remember, I think it was like sometime because I got this during the pandemic. And at one point, one of my lives, on Instagram lives, one of them actually fell down. If any of you guys remember that, it was a funny moment. Mahan says, are you happy with the club policy in the transfer market? For example, if last season we had 3 or 4 solid players, probably we could have won the Champions League, but we waited 4 years for Mbappe. Well, I don't think it's that simple to pin it that way. I think maybe there is some merit in what you're saying, but at the same time, we did sign Camavinga, who has been a huge contributor this season. We have actually spent a lot of money like in the past 4 or 5 years, but it's just been on players like Vinicius, like Rodrigo, like Militao. So we've definitely spent the money, but I think we've also tried to be strategic with where we spend it. Have we been perfect? No. Have we made mistakes? Yes, but I think given the way this season has panned out, we can be pretty excited for the future. Hunter Ablar says, interesting to see we couldn't quote-unquote afford Tchouameni. Are Mbappe's and Rudiger's wages that heavy? I don't know if it's about... yeah, they will be. Those two wages will be high, no, undoubtedly. I think with Tchouameni, it's more of there's concern about whether they can give him enough playing time to justify that salary in the transfer. I mean, he won't be free either, right? In my opinion, I think Tchouameni would fit like a glove with Fede and Camavinga moving forward for the future. They have complementary skill sets. Between all three of them, you cover a lot of ground. You have your progressive passing on point. You have your ball carrying on point. You have your press resistancy on point. You have pretty much your defensive coverage, everything on point with those three combined. The skill sets are very complementary. Plus, they're young and athletic. But I think the club also would have a hard time knowing what to do with him because Casemiro is already there. And I don't think they would bench or sell Casemiro because he is a locker room guy. Everyone loves him. And I think it would be a weird decision. And I just don't see them doing that. And so they'd have to decide, like, okay, can we rotate him in heavily? Which I would say, like, I would be concerned about it if you asked me that, like, a few months ago. But given the way we've seen the season pan out, the last few months, Camavinga has been rotated in. Fede has been playing a lot more. Rodrigo has been playing a lot more. And Ancelotti himself has said, when you have a squad like this, you can rotate. I think I would be pretty confident that actually Ancelotti is going to rotate more next season based on what we've seen in the last few months because now he trusts a lot of his bench players. Assuming that Tchouameni would fall into like a Camavinga role where maybe he doesn't start right away, he gets playing time. Maybe you don't see him for some time because Casemiro's there. But then he works his way into the team like Camavinga did. I wouldn't be too bummed out with that scenario. I think Camavinga's developed nicely now that we all look at how this has panned out. So I would still sign Tchouameni in a heartbeat. Someone says, do you reckon Alaba would be back and fully fit for the Champions League final? Yes, he's back in training today. Today was his first full training session with the team since April 26th, I think, or whatever the timeline was where he got injured against City. His right abductor, he hasn't trained fully since then. He's been in and out of training doing work on his own and practicing kind of halfway. But today was the first day he was fully back. So, yeah, he's going to be back for Liverpool. Aya Boy says, let's say Mbappe doesn't come. Who would you want us to sign during the transfer window? Interesting question. For that position in particular, who is available? It's not that easy to just pluck someone right now. I mean, maybe you could convince yourself that it was Haaland, but obviously he's gone and he's not the Mbappe profile anyway. I'd have to think about that a little bit. On one hand, I would like to just entrust Rodrigo with the role because he's been fantastic and I think he has a really high ceiling. On another level, could you look at players like... Jeez, it's not that I'm drawing blanks. It's more that, like, who would be attainable realistically? Like, Matt on the podcast the other day mentioned, man, if we could get Bernardo Silva, that would be amazing. But while I agree with that on some level, is that even a realistic signing? So I don't know, just coming up with realistic names is kind of difficult. If you guys have any one in the comments, you can drop them and I'll give my opinion on whether I think that's realistic or not. A lot of people joining, looking handsome. Kiyan, oh thanks man, you're making me blush. It's the lighting. Jonathan Oliver says, Kiyan, are we crazy to be confident against Liverpool in the final? I actually feel really good about this game. No, you're not crazy at all. You can argue that Liverpool are the favorites, but you could also say that we have the two best players in the world. Certainly the two most effective players in the world right now, in Vinicius and Benzema. So why not? And plus we got the DNA thing. Nizam says, Rodrigo or Fede, who should start against Liverpool? On one level, I think Rodrigo is the best right winger because he goes into attack mode and he can actually break lines very well. On another level, why mess with what's working right now? And plus, Fede is not a slouch on the right wing, so I'm kind of okay with either. And I think given the fact that Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos are going to be tested a lot in the final, and they're going to be pressured a lot, why not have Fede there as that central presence who can tuck in narrow on defense and help them, but also go wide and carry the ball on offense? So I'm okay with the situation we have right now, which is Fede starting and Rodrigo on the right wing. Militao has to do with Salah, but what Ramos did in the Champions League final, well, that's really dark. Certainly we don't want anyone injured, right, guys? Mustafa says, will this be the most historic Champions League title in Real Madrid history? Great question. If they win it, it's got to go up there as, to me, right behind La Decima in terms of the run I've enjoyed the most. It's hard for me to put anything above La Decima at this point, but this comes close just in the sense, like 16-17 that was a better team than this one, right? Like, you put 16-17 Real Madrid against this Real Madrid, 16-17 would win. But this one is more special because we punched above our weight and of all the late comebacks. Like 16-17 was almost like too good. And plus, like, we had like some amazing goals, obviously. But this one just feels a little bit more special because of the comebacks and the whole thing has been surreal. So I'd put it right behind La Decima for the ones I've seen in my lifetime. The ones I've seen, so 97-98 we were underdogs. That was definitely special. But that team doesn't really have the blend that we have this season. 99-2000 was special, but we weren't nearly as good domestically. We were fifth in the league, but it was special in its own way because we punched above our weight against Manchester United and Bayern, and Raul had a really special season. Redondo was amazing. McManaman was amazing. Roberto Carlos was amazing. 2002 was obviously amazing for the Zidane volley, but that team had plenty of tactical flaws. And then you fast forward to La Decima, that's number one for me. The next year, or the one 2 years after in Milan, was, like, if I'm being really honest, like, it just, because we had won La Decima 2 years ago, that one couldn't match nearly the emotion that we hit in La Decima. So I don't have that one that high, to be honest. 16-17 was beautiful. 17-18 was amazing too because of the way we won it with the Bale bicycle. And obviously in the build up to it, we had the Ronaldo bicycle against Juve. But this one I put right at number 2. What time is it? I got time. I got 10 minutes. Tochevsky says, plenty of talk about a Benzema backup besides Mbappe. I think we can use Hazard in that role next season. Yeah, I don't think we need a Mbappe, a Benzema backup. There's no point, right? I would even sell Mariano. That pause for a sec. I would be okay with selling Jovic and Mariano because they don't play anyway. And if you sign someone, they're going to be in an exact same position. So might as well put Mbappe as the backup striker to Benzema. You just ship them there as the 9 or the false 9, however you want to word it. Plus, then you can insert Rodrigo as a false 9. You have Hazard there. You can play that role as Vasco says, and I don't think Hazard's going to go anywhere. But yeah, I wouldn't even bother signing a Benzema backup, to be honest. Mustafa says, thoughts on Teo? Been super impressed with him. Unbelievable player. Electrifying, exciting. He's matured. His decision-making has gotten better. He wasn't nearly this player when he was with us or with Real Sociedad. Even in his first year at Milan, he wasn't close to this. When are you coming to Exeter? Oh, it's Sam Sharp. Is that the town you live in, buddy? I don't know. By the way, are you coming to Paris? If you're coming to Paris, WhatsApp me. We should get together. Would you give Bale one last hurrah and put him in the Champions League final squad? I mean, based on merit, no. I think if you want to put him in the game against Betis for one last send-off, sure, it would be nice to see that. But at the same time, I'm not sure the Bernabeu would even applaud him in that situation. It'd be interesting. I hope he plays against Betis. I hope we do see him play one last time at the Bernabeu. All right, let's see. I'm kind of behind on the comments. I'm just going to scroll through. Sandeep says, what is the future of Asensio and Ceballos? I'm not sure. I'm not too bothered if Asensio leaves. I think Ceballos has really good depth the way he's playing, but at the same time, he may want to go somewhere else where he can start. Shaft says, what are your thoughts if Mbappe struggles on the right? I wrote about Mbappe's fit today. You can go read that on managingmadrid.com. But I don't think he's going to play a right-wing role, although he will have to go there, obviously, quite a bit. But I think it's going to be mostly funneled to the left, and we're going to switch to the right back. And there's going to be a lot of overloading on the left side. That's how I see it working out. But you can read about it in more detail. Rishi says, do we have to sell Ceballos to actually go for Tchouameni, or could they coexist? They can coexist because they're different positions. However, the problem is that even though they're different positions, you're looking at a lot of midfielders who would compete with each other regardless. So if you have 3 positions in the midfield, but then you have Modric, Kroos, Casemiro 3, Fede 4, Camavinga 5, Tchouameni 6, Ceballos is just not going to play, even though he's not directly competing for the DM position. It's really going to be hard to justify that. Gnabry is a good shout. That's an interesting one. Shravan says Gnabry from earlier. This is how behind I am in the comments. Gnabry is a really good shout. Salah, I don't see it. Not realistic. Omar says, did Camavinga's emergence automatically rule out Pogba as an option? In my opinion, less. Yes. Pogba, I actually am higher on Pogba than most people are. I think his true self is the French national team version of him, where he plays freely, and he has probably the best long-range passing of anyone in the world, not named Toni Kroos, but can't rely on his health. Can't rely on a lot of external factors like his mentality. And also, we just have good young players that I don't want their development to stall. A lot of Mbappe fit questions, guys. I beg you, I can't say this enough. Please go read our tactical articles. Go read it, because the tactical articles, it's a very niche market. Like not everyone reads those. I'd say like 10 to 20% of our readers actually read those articles. Go read those articles. Go read the one that's pinned on the homepage today. It's 3,000 words. If you don't have the patience to sit and read it, there's an option. You can actually click and listen to the article and listen to it as a podcast. Go do that. Someone asking, I saw your latest video on YouTube about Real Madrid and English players. Are there any English players whom you can recommend for Real and fit in the squad? Right now, it's Reece James. Sam, yes, I do miss you. How different are Real Madrid and Liverpool since playing in the Champions League last year? I would actually argue both are caught myself for a second. I think Real Madrid have an inferior team in terms of individual ability. And I think Liverpool are pretty much just as good. You could even argue better, even though they may not win the league this year. And some of the names are different off the top of my head. Firmino is not playing as much, but Luis Diaz has been unbelievable, and he's maybe more terrifying than Firmino anyway. Plus, Thiago's an amazing midfielder. I actually think you could argue Liverpool's better and Real Madrid are worse. A little dose of confidence for you guys. Bum, 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 bum. What do I think of Seferin's recent comments regarding Real Madrid being in the finals and relating it to the competition being clean? I think Seferin is drinking Kool-Aid, but more realistically, he's a smart guy and knows what he's saying, but he's just a politician and is just saying things that aren't true, obviously, but that would work for his PR. Javier says, I'm worried about Rudiger. Wish we got a bit more of a technical center back. I'm not sure entirely what you mean by that, but Rudiger is one of the best ball-playing center backs in the world. His technical ability on the ball is one of the best. Should Lunin go on loan? Probably. I actually wouldn't be that bothered necessarily if they sold him, because I don't like how long are you going to stick around for Thibaut as Thibaut's backup. Like, what is he going to go on like a 5-year loan spell? So I understand if they did sell him. At the same time, I can understand why they wouldn't want to lose him just in case. But loan seems like the best option. But for the love of God, send him to somewhere where he's going to play regular first team football at a high level. Mustafa says, can you use the offseason to talk about pressing and counter-pressing tactics and development in football in the podcast? We've hit on this subject actually quite a bit. I think, Mustafa, I would refer you to on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or Boxing Day, I did a Q&A mailbag podcast. If you just search the podcast around that time, I actually spoke about that exact subject. But I'm sure we can if you're a patron, just submit it as a question on Patreon, and I'm sure we can tackle it in more detail. I got 5 minutes, guys, okay? And Ankur says, does Militao's recent form worry you? Go on my YouTube channel, Kiyan Sobhani on YouTube. There's a video called Our Concern and Worry About Militao's Form Heading into the Liverpool Game. It's like literally your exact question. I may have butchered the title, but it's my second latest YouTube video. Go and watch that. Thoughts on Reinier Jesus? Love of God. Somewhere to play, please. A couple of requests for live videos. Sorry, guys, I don't have time today. Articles are great. Thank you. Thank you so much for the compliments on the articles. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I love the new shirt. I haven't bought a new shirt in years. I think I'm going to make an exception this year. some compliments. Thank you, thank you. Do I think Rudiger benches Militao? I also addressed that in that same Militao video. I think if you put Rudiger over Militao right now and pair him with Alaba, it's an upgrade. You may lose out on certain things, but especially from a ball progression standpoint, Rudiger and Alaba would be your best partnership. Do I think Liverpool winning the FA Cup against Chelsea on penalties gives us more confidence to beat them? I don't think it changes much, to be honest. I do think the Tottenham and the Liverpool games in particular, Real Madrid can take a lot of things away from in terms of how they can hurt Liverpool and deal with some of their pressing. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to scroll a little bit faster because I feel like I'm really behind on these comments. You got to come to India, man. I know. How's the family? They are well. Thank you. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to wrap it there. I think I'm almost caught up anyway. Let's see. There were a few questions in here. Okay. Yeah, we're going to wrap it here. I'm going to post this video, the whole thing on Instagram, maybe even on YouTube and some other places. So if you joined late, you can actually just go back and watch it from the beginning. And hope it was okay. I was pretty tired for this one. Again, working a lot of hours these days. And I'm going to go pick up my son from daycare, play some basketball with him. And that's it. Matt and I are recording a podcast tonight on patreon.com/managingmadrid. It's the Tuesday show. And then Lucas and I are doing a mailbag also on Patreon. And yeah. And please go read my article pinned on managingmadrid.com. It went up literally like 2 hours ago. So I appreciate you guys. Love you all. And Hala Madrid.